to be realized, all these 4 dimensions must be fulfilled simultaneously. Don't leave any behind. So to achieve this food security, there is need for us to have partnership work and collaborate among ourselves. I'm happy we are all here today. This may involve the following. We may have to promote production systems that use climate smart techniques. We have to deploy digital technology. Nowadays, agriculture is devoid of drudgery. We have to use technology and innovation to improve food production systems. We have to apply appropriate policies and regulatory reforms. We have to provide finance and support long-term food security programs. We need to support investments in research and development to advance agricultural science and innovation to boost food and nutrition security. There is need for us to improve supply chains and agro-processing to reduce post-harvest food losses. And there is also need for all of us to empower and strengthen the capacity of small and medium industries to boost agro-value chain development and trade. In UNIDO, I've said we are a specialized UN agency. Our overall mandate is to promote accelerated, inclusive, and sustainable industrial development in developing countries and economies in transition towards achievement of the sustainable development goal, especially goal number 9. So with respect to agro-value chain development, we have global competence, experience in developing skills, training initiatives, developing curricula, food safety, quality norms, standards, and certification processes. Then we have also developed an approach that focuses on promoting effective agro-value chain as a means of further expanding the leading role played by agriculture in economic poverty reduction. In Nigeria, we have been working effectively with the government and other partners. Currently, we have just developed our program for country partnership, which will run from 2024 to 2028. The program for country partnership has 6 components. And one of the components will focus on startups and MSME development, innovation, science, technology, and digital economy. The other component will also focus on agro-value chain development. That's where we are creating food security. So it has the program for country partnership has a very wide range of activities such as agro supply, we address it, integrated agro-industrial parks, where we now have a lot of processors. We work on capacity building of small, medium enterprises and industrialists. We focus on post-harvest handling, processing, and use of modern techniques and innovation. Our emphasis will also be on quality and standards. You can grow food, you can process them, but when you sell it in the market, they are rejected because of poor quality and poor standards. So that's our focus, and we should also discuss that during this forum. So our own food safety approach was designed to help execute our organizational mandate and structure, such that it can leverage its capacity building initiatives as well as advisory and governing power. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to use this opportunity to congratulate Pan-African Association of Small and Medium Industries for organizing this event. And for UNIDO, we will continue to provide technical support to Nigeria. And we look forward to working with this organization personally. I think after this organization, we should try and see, have a fiscal meeting and see how we can collaborate. So based on that, I look forward to more deliberations and participation and interaction with partners. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you. I appreciate you. When I started this event, I made an omission, which I apologize for. If you want to give me query, please go ahead and do so. Our keynote speaker, I think I jumped in my opening protocol. So when I come to your university, please make sure you don't give me a degree. Professor Umezurike Linus Okpara, where are you, sir? Can you imagine? And you are the first person that smiled at me this morning. No? I apologize. Thank you very much. Thank you. That's our keynote speaker, and we'll be listening to him very soon. But for now, all the way from Maryland, USA, is the faculty chair and director in 1890 University Center of Excellence for Global Food Security and Defense. He's our brother from ECOWAS, all the way from Togo. But he speaks both French and English fluently. Professor Stephen Tubene, he just gives it now, and then at the technical session, then you will know what stuff is made of. Prof.
Thank you, MCA, for such a good introduction. If one correction, though I speak French, I'm from Congo. So Togo is next door, but Congo is the heart of Africa. So I would like to thank you for attending this special conference and special workshop. So when Dr. Bisong called the center and he said, oh, you know, we are organizing this big conference in Abuja. So would you like to come and be a part of it? And my answer was, of course, we should be there. Just for a quick review, the Center of Excellence for Global Food Security and Defense is one of 6 centers being funded by U.S. federal government through the U.S. Department of Agriculture and NIFA, the National Institute of Food and Agriculture, is our most some of the remarks and keynote speakers who happen to be at my table. So I will explain more the essence of our center and how we can collaborate, all of us. Je vous dis merci et à très bientôt. Welcome, and again, thank you for coming and participating in this event.
You know, since I've been studying romance and love, they told me about love at first sight. Today I'm seeing it. This man is coming to Nigeria for the first time, and he's already in love. We also love you too. Can we put our hands together, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you very much. So before we take our keynote address, let me welcome here, representing the Honorable Minister for Health and the Coordinating Minister for Health and Social Welfare, to formally declare this conference open, and then we'll take our keynote address. Let me welcome here Mr. John Atonda. Mr. John Atonda. As you're coming, just hold the key, come here, I declare it open and you step down. Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Honorable Minister of Health and Social Welfare, the Professor Adipate, who will have loved to be here, because that's why you realize that just coming because I'm trying to make all the effort to make us, we like to appreciate this gathering. But unfortunately, it's not able to make it. So I'm I'm standing here on behalf of the Minister of Health as the Director, National Coordinator of Food Safety and Quality Program of the Ministry. So I welcome everyone of us to this very important occasion. We are aware of the importance of the safety of food to the entire food security. And then the ministry have been all the necessary attempts making attempts to make sure that the safety of the food we consume in the country is guaranteed. Well, not to say too much, my assignment has been made simple. He said just to declare the workshop so that we can continue. So on behalf of the Minister of Health, I declare this work conference open to the glory of the Almighty God, and I wish us a successful conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our keynote speaker is a very eminent person intellectually. He's a chartered agricultural engineer, member of the Academy of Science South Africa, and a distinguished scholar recognized globally. We are very happy that he's here with us. He's also Executive Director, UNESCO International Center for Biotechnology, Nigeria. I'd like to welcome here. Looks very handsome with his white beard, Professor Mezorike Linus Okpara. You would think he's a movie actor. He doesn't look any bit a professor. So, Prof, I welcome you. Thank you very much. Your keynote is how long? Okay.
Thank you very much. Can we have the slides? Then I'll see if I can control them from here. Thank you. Thank you, colleagues. First of all, I want to stand on all existing protocols. I want to thank Henry and his team for really bringing us together. I recognize a lot of good friends here. Professor Akoa is here. A friend from the NDP. So many of us are here. I really feel at home. I just want to make some quick remarks before the slides will come up. There is hunger in the land. And I think we all agree. I believe so. I also believe that we all feel it. Either directly or indirectly. And if we don't feel it, I think we hear about it. So there is hunger in the land. But this hunger in the land is not new. For those of us who believe in something, especially the holy books, the issue of famine and hunger has actually made people to move completely away from where they live and move to other places. However, there is something unique about the type of hunger we have now on the land. This is a big one. If we don't do something about it, for those of us who lived around 2008, when there was insufficient food in the supermarket, and I remember going to the supermarket in Oman, the Sultanate of Oman, in 2000 with our daughters. And we were the last one to go in, and we could only get our two loaves of bread. And they shut down, and there was nothing else left. It is real. We also see the incidents of what we now call them natural disasters, but we believe many of them are man-made, human-made. Look at flooding all over the country. In Borno, in Benue, in Niger State. And last year, it was in Anambra State, wasn't it? And so on and so forth. There is something wrong that is going on, so we have to do something about it. So what I want to do is to share some what I may call experiences, and consider this to be my own personal experiences. And I want you to pick whatever you can pick from it, and bring it home to what you do. If you're a policy person, see if there is something there for you. If you're an academic like me, see if there is something there for you. If you work in the development space, see if there is something there for you. But the key message is that we have to take some action. Business as usual will not get us out of this particular problem. The second point I also want to make before I go forward is that in the past, we have focused on production. We must grow more. We understand this. You have to grow food. But there is also evidence that in our own country, Nigeria, and the rest of the African continent, we lose a high proportion of what has already been produced. We don't see them. Because we lose them between the roads, between Lagos and Ibadan. We lose them in the shops, and so on and so forth. Those 30, 50, 70% for some commodities, we have to save them. Just think about it. Because you don't see them. Doesn't mean that the problem doesn't exist. So two messages there. We need to find a way to grow more. We must produce. Not only for our own eating, we must produce to sell, to make business. There are a lot of business people here. We must think about food as a business. You can see I'm picking my words very carefully. We like hogging into agriculture. We get so passionate and we don't do anything about it. Let's talk about food. And maybe everybody will listen. So we need to produce more. We have the capacity to produce more. Not only for ourselves, for our neighbors, for other countries, but also for business, for employment opportunities, for industrialization. And then secondly, we must save what we produce because it's cheaper to save it than to continue to produce more. So I talked about global experiences. So those arrows there are supposed to indicate to you some of the places that I've worked for the last 35 years. So I'm glad to be back home in my country. And I'm in a very, very good space. So some of those arrows that you see that are a bit thick, it means that I had a career in those countries. At least 5 or 6 or 7 years. Starting from New Zealand all the way to the Middle East to Europe. And I spent some time at the United Nations because I was interested in food policy. I'm an agricultural engineer. So what I'm going to share with you are a combination of experiences. And you can see a country called Timor-Leste. When they got independence from Indonesia, I was among 5 people sent by the United Nations to go and write the agricultural development plan. So we have learned some things there. Back in 1989, before I left the country, we wrote, myself and a couple of people, the mechanization component of agricultural development plan of Nigeria. The question is, what has happened to it? 1989 to 2004, I wrote it as part of my master's study. So we have a lot of knowledge, we have a lot of experiences with us. And very recently, when I came back in 2017, I was invited to give a keynote at the first National Livestock Transformation Conference here in Abuja. I think it was in Square. And we contributed to that livestock transformation plan. And now we have a National Ministry of Livestock. We have to determine what is going to happen to drive animal production as part of the food system. Business as usual is not going to work. That is the background. So what I'm sharing are experiences. Let's see what we can pick from it. These are examples of some of those documents. So I've been in the mechanization area for many years. I was known as the mechanization guy. I spent time at Ilorin, UNCAM, National Center for Mechanization. The same issues as today. The needle has not moved much. So let's start thinking about action. Not just action, but doing things a bit differently. And I think it's very, very important. We've talked a lot. So let's begin now. At the end of this meeting, to say, what are we going to do differently? And who is going to do some of those things here? So when we talk about food security and food safety, I think it's important to find out those words that a common person like me can connect with. So we don't just look like an academic jargon. Let's talk about hunger. Let's talk about malnutrition. Let's talk about undernutrition. Let's talk about poor health. Those of you who are in human health know about the implication of the first 1,000 days if a child is not properly fed, and the implications on their future contribution to our economy. That's what we need to talk about, so that our colleagues in the Ministry of Health can come together and not think that we're just talking about agriculture and food. So when the budget is being discussed, they can see the relevance to human development in medicine over there. When we talk about agriculture, food security and food safety, let's not just talk about wheat and rice alone. Let's talk about yam. Let's talk about cassava. Let's talk about fisheries. Let's talk about marine economy. Many countries rely on those alone to grow. Not only just to eat, but to create business for their young people and business people, so they can actually buy and afford to buy what they need. On the right-hand side, I want us to think about those. Think about horticulture. How many people know that as far back as 2006 or 2007, the global value of trade in dollar terms of fruit and vegetables has surpassed that of wheat and rice? How many people know? Go to Kenya and see how the horticultural industry is transforming that country. So we don't have to always grow wheat and rice. If we grow good flowers, if we grow good mangoes, look at those Western and Benue State. We can export them and be cheaper for us to buy wheat. Let's think about it. It's not always about energy food. Many countries are surviving on other commodities. I lived in New Zealand for many years. If you go online and think about kiwi fruit, a wild fruit in China, the scientists from New Zealand brought to New Zealand, hidden in their bags in the 1950s, multi-billion-dollar global market now. Just one kiwi fruit. So for those of us who come from the south and the southeast, what's happening to our odara? I don't know what you call it in English. How many people know about odara? I don't know. What is the English name? Just think about the economy we can generate in 5 years. If we can begin to sell odara to the rest of Africa. Just like we buy apples from South Africa. When I arrived in South Africa 16 years ago, the industry invited me to the various boards to speak to them about how they can crack different markets in the world. And I asked them, what do you say to Nigeria and to the rest of Africa? They told me, Professor, it is very difficult. I said, why is it difficult? They don't have power, they don't have good roads, they don't have good storage facilities. But if you go on the road in Abuja now, you buy apples and pears. They are selling them to us. And we are buying it. And we're supporting their local economies. So we have to think about those things that give us competitive advantage and bring them into business. And that's where the role of science and technology can come in, and the business people can come and make money and create job opportunities for our young people. Those are the kind of languages we should be talking about. This map is not new. It's more than 10 years old, about the state of food security, insecurity in Africa, in Nigeria. It has not changed much. It has not changed much. So look at it. We are still the heat map of the world with all the land resources we have. I came to Nigeria some years ago with my friends from China, and we flew from Lagos to Abuja. And the next time we flew from Abuja to Enugu, and they're asking me, Professor, why are these lands idle? They were asking me in the plane. I was so ashamed. You know what the next thing they asked me? Professor, we know you are not lazy. Think about it, Chinese. All they can see is opportunity everywhere. So somebody made a remark here. We must cultivate those that are available, but in a sustainable manner. And that's where the business must come in. We must do something about it. So it has not changed. But see what is changing on the right-hand side there. Look at where the next population growth in the world will come from. It is in Africa. Look at the dark point there. And mainly in Nigeria. So what are we going to eat if we don't produce? Look at the collapse of our currency.
Where are we going to get the money to buy? What about the people we buy from can no longer sell to us? Just think about it. Ukraine has been invaded. Ukraine is at war. Ukraine is donating food to us. Just think about it. Small country. They're at war. They're donating food to us and selling to us and making money. We have to do something different. We must do something. So I'm not going to bother you what about this. These are all African statistics. We don't need those ones here. But look at the statement made by African heads of states last year when they met this issue of food security. Look at, we need to invest in agriculture. The same thing we've been saying over the years. But for those of us who work on the post-production, after production, I was very fascinated. I told my students, say, look at number five. Our heads of state said we must reduce post-harvest losses. Look at the expansion here. But how do we reduce post-harvest losses when there's no power supply? Power supply to maintain the cold chain or to maintain the dry chain, isn't it? So we need to start thinking about those things that make agriculture and food systems work. Not just about the production. The roads must work. Storage facilities must work. Otherwise, we keep borrowing and we keep begging. And it's become really bad. I'm just going to go through quickly this and that. These commitments are all over the place. We've done a lot of talk. So this conference is about food security and food safety. But I want us to think something about this. Food security has several dimensions. The first one is that the food must be produced. It must be available, right? If you don't produce, then you must buy from somewhere. So food must be available. If it's available, doesn't mean you can access it, right? Yeah. So we must now begin to think beyond availability. Many of our people are hungry, not because there's no food in the market. They can't afford it. No flus. In Arabic, they say flus, money. So what do we need to do to assure food security when there is food availability and people don't have access? That's why we need to industrialize our economy. We must industrialize our economy. We must get people busy along the value chain. Reduce the number of people producing. Reduce the number of people producing. Our young people, I don't want to go there. Our two daughters don't want to go into hand farming. The same cutlass and hand hoe I use with my mothers. They don't want to do it. So something else must come in. That's where technology must come in. Mechanization, irrigation, robotics, greenhouse technology, all those things we thought was for Oyibo people, it is for us. Look at the mobile phones we have here. Look at the speakers. Look at everything. My grandfather would think that he is somewhere else if he came here now. And he only died about 50 years ago. There is nothing that we are doing here today that looks like my grandfather. So why don't we want to change our agriculture? Why do we think it is their problem, those people in rural areas? The chicken is coming home to roost. It's coming to the cities. We are running out of food. And we are running out of money. Even buy the food. So food security is not only about production, it's about access. And if you want to access food, you must have income. You don't need to be a producer. We have two daughters. They don't go to the farm. But there's always food in our fridge. They are food secure. Because we have what? Access to food. So when we talk about food security, please, let's put a lot more effort on access. What do we need to do for people to be able to have access to food? The second, how we utilize food is important. If you store the food at the wrong temperature, the nutrients might depreciate. And you might be getting malnutrition. If you store it the wrong way, the food might spoil. It may look nice, you consume it, but you get disease. Food safety. There is evidence that even after the Asian Revolution of the 1970s, they were able to produce a lot of wheat and rice. But by the 1980s and 1990s, they had more stunting in Asia than in Africa. Because they were just consuming energy. The statistics and the data is out there. So our own agricultural transformation must include nutrition, good quality food, and safe food. That's the message on that particular slide. This is important. Don't know whether the graph is not clear. At the bottom side is telling you the change in contribution of agriculture to the GDP. The summary of that graph is it is nearly stagnant. And agriculture here means what? Production side. It's not changing much. The value is not there in the farm. The value is after you harvested it. That's especially for the young people. Because we are not producing enough, what do? We import. We have to eat. Guess how much we spend in Nigeria every year to import wheat alone? Africa alone spends close to $90 billion just to import food. Minimally processed by other countries in the world. Just think what we have done with it. So the message in this graph is that our import is rising, both in quantity and amount of money. Our production is not enough. We are not producing enough. We are a consuming country, consuming continent. We have to think about production. Otherwise, we get into problem. Second one is that food losses are also very high. The little we produce. We talk a lot about post-harvest losses, but think about in the field. The ones that are eaten by pests and diseases, right? We don't harvest them because they are bad. They are gone. Insects have eaten them. A lot of losses happen in the field. Third one is low quality. Even that little we produce, the little we produce, nobody wants to buy them from us. I've seen container loads of fish from Nigeria that were rejected in Europe with my revolution. And in 2009, they had a bumper liners. What do? These farmers are complaining. I said, Agnes, you better go and buy those from those farmers at a good price and store them. If you don't buy from them, next year they will not produce. Doesn't that, you can go and read the history of Rwanda now. Just Rwanda of yesterday. Labor shortages. In the past, we thought we had labor. I don't know about you. I don't know which village you come from. In my village, in Imo State, there's no labor. Even the few young people there don't want to farm. So who's going to till this soil? I'm not there. My mom is dead. My father is dead. If you want one small 0.5 hectare, I'll give you free in my village now. So there's a